Paranormal Evidence.
Tonight, see what truly exists inside the world of the paranormal. Inside. Join the discussion and review some of the best paranormal evidence captures from a wide variety of experienced and up-and-coming investigators. See and hear what they capture, where they captured it, and how they captured it. Right now on Entity Voices
Paranormal Evidence.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Entity Voices Paranormal Evidence. I am Chris.
I am Audra.
And I am Tony, all by myself, but I'm still Tony.
And we're all you're getting tonight.
I know.
Yeah, exactly. Cherie is spending her night with her daughter, who it's her 23rd birthday. And Ron and Lourdes are... Where are they?
They went down into Pennsylvania. Your ITC thing got canceled this weekend, so they decided to take a little vacation, they said.
Well, good for them. They've earned it. They deserve it. And I hope they are enjoying it. Did they go to Gettysburg? I thought I heard Lourdes say they were heading.
They said they were going to stop by Gettysburg, but I haven't seen any posts from them from Gettysburg yet. So
yeah. Interesting.
Yep. Glad they're taking a break, but we will miss them tonight.
Yes, we will. And we're glad to be back, but man, we love y'all, but that time on the beach was nice.
Yes, it was.
So if y'all have never been to the Outer Banks in North Carolina, it is a strip of land that sits off the mainland, and you cross a sound, an inlet of water from the Atlantic Ocean, and it's just a strip of land that goes down most of the length of the state of North Carolina on the East Coast. And you literally have sound on one side and Atlantic Ocean on the other side. And where Audra and I were camping, well, RV resorting, glamping.
Glamping, yeah.
You could literally walk from the Atlantic Ocean to the sound side in less than 4 minutes. So it was
pretty cool.
It was gorgeous.
Very cool.
So we have a very special show for you tonight. Even though Ron and Lourdes aren't here, we have got some clips from Ron from a couple investigations that he's done recently. We have some Class A clips that Audra and I got from our Trans-Allegheny. I still have about 15 hours of review to do, but man, we got some good stuff for you tonight. And then we got some DRV from Tony that he's been doing in his spare time too. Amy Edwards, love the Outer Banks.
Absolutely.
Outer Banks is phenomenal. We have a ton of evidence for you guys tonight, so we will probably jump right in it. What do you think, Tony?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. There's quite a few clips here. There's some really good stuff in here. So, yeah, I say we jump right in.
Where do you want me to start? Do you want me to start with our stuff? Do you want me to start with Ron's stuff?
You're going to eeny, meeny, miny, moe.
Right.
Yeah, I think they're in a good order. Just play them in order.
Okay, let's do that. So, Trans-Allegheny, for those of you that don't know, if you don't know, you're not paying attention to the paranormal. Trans-Allegheny is listed as one of the most top 10 haunted locations depending on what website you go to, in the world or in the United States. That's Lourdes. Hi, Lourdes. For some reason,
that's Lourdes.
Because I have Facebook on and I'm watching the Facebook feed at the same time, and for some reason their names pop up on there, but they don't pop up on here.
Hey,
Anthony Simonelli, how you doing?
Mr. Simonelli.
But Trans-Allegheny was opened in 1858, and it was officially closed by the government in 1994. So it was open for quite a long time, and the history behind this place is just nasty. You'll have to look it up. It would take us the entire show for me to go through it. But 666 acres and 13 buildings, and we investigated the main building. We had a private there. There was Spirits of the Southeast. It was Piedmont Paranormal. We had some friends come down from Baltimore, Lisa and Jody. Julie Griffin was with us for the investigation.
That was fun.
That was
very
fun.
Cool.
So here we're going to start. We'll start with our first one. This is the third floor men's ward, and this is a violent men's ward. Audra and I were setting up equipment, so everybody was still downstairs getting their equipment set up and ready. And naturally, Tony knows us. We took off before everybody else got into the building. And there she goes. Lourdes switched to YouTube.
Good. Now we know who she is.
Yeah. So this is Audra always walks around and records with her camera while we're setting up, because you always want to record, even if you're setting up equipment, you want to have something recording while you're doing that.
Yeah.
And I was setting up the camera facing down towards the bedpost murder room, which is Dean's room on the 3rd floor. And we caught this EVP, which is really cool. Let me go ahead and play it.
Nobody? What was that?
Wow.
Yeah. That was really
Very
cool
clear.
because we didn't hear it at the time. And when Audra actually replied, "What was that?" she was talking to me. I was setting up the camera off to the side. You can see my light flashing. I was sitting down, setting up the camera to face down the hallway. And we didn't actually hear it. She was replying to me because I dropped the camera actually at that point. So
Wow. So what did Trans-Allegheny actually have any type of, I'm assuming they did, some type of medical facility in there?
Oh yeah.
it was originally opened up as
TV,
Weston Hospital. And then they've got a tuberculosis clinic on site. That building is separate from the main building. But this was originally opened up as a hospital, and then it slowly transitioned into a insane asylum.
Okay, so someone asking for medical then is very much in the character of the.
Oh yeah, very much
absolutely.
so. Yep.
Mhm.
That's awesome. That's cool.
And they had different floors. I mean, you had one floor, like the first floor that we've got some recordings off of, was where they did the lobotomies and the criminal intake. And then there was one floor that was the family floor, because anybody that knows the history of Trans-Allegheny, back in the 1800s, men could drop off their wife and children and he'd get paid $10 a head, and they'd admit him
right.
forever and never let him back out. And he was free to go about his life and do whatever he wanted to do. So they actually had families. They had children in sections of the hospital. They had the violent men's ward. They had the violent women's ward. They had alcohol rehab and drug rehab upstairs. They had all, I mean, it was basically, it was built to support 250 people. And at any given time, it had 2,600 to 3,000 people in the building. And it was never staffed for more than 250 people.
Yeah.
Wow.
Typical.
You know what? And that's such a common occurrence for places like that. Just terribly understaffed. Patients just abused like crazy on every level imaginable. Sad times, really.
Yeah. But to specifically answer your question, Tony, at one time it was the local area hospital at the same time too. So
okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So this next one, I want to explain this one. Chris is not a big orb person. Okay. And I watched 15 hours of video. And there was bats caught on the video. There was bugs caught on the video. There was a couple times we caught some dust, but not too much, because they keep it very clean, because it's a very active paranormal hotspot. They do history tours during the day. They do paranormal tours at night, and then they open up for privates and stuff like that. So they keep it pretty clean. It's a pretty clean facility, as a matter of fact. It's pretty shocking how clean it is. We actually caught this in the same location we caught the last EVP medical. And if you watch the path of this orb as it comes through, and I'm telling you what it is because you'll see it. Watch the path of this orb coming through. It literally comes down the hallway and exit. You'll see on the screen there's a little chair sitting off to the right. Next to that chair is the doorway that goes to the violent women's ward. And it actually takes a path that travels right to that door. So let's go ahead and play that. So I know y'all can hear me. If you watch, there's a light off to the up high. That's an exit light. If you go down about 3 inches below that, you'll see it start to flare. It comes. There it goes. And it goes right out the door.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a light, not a not a piece of fuzz.
But what first caught my eye when I was reviewing is you can see it blinking in the dark. And it's like, okay, that's not a bug. What is that? And then as it comes towards the camera, you can see it flashing, and then it turns and goes right through that doorway. It's pretty cool.
What camera were you using?
I was using our high definition with the IR light on. The problem is, let me pop that screen back up again. The problem is with IR light, you need light. in order to illuminate the entire hallway. So this hallway is about the half size. It's about a football field, half a football field long.
Yeah, to light that up, you would need major. Can you? I just want to see that one more time.
Yeah, and to give a little precedence behind it, the light you see down at the end of the hall is Carrie's camera facing mine. So that bright light you see off to the right is actually Carrie's IR light focusing at me. Before she set her camera up, you couldn't see anything but the chair because the IR wouldn't reach far enough down. But let me play it again.
Sure.
There it comes.
Yeah, and if you would think if it was something like reflecting on something else, it'd either have like some sort of a pattern, it would repeat itself, something, and we never saw it again. So
interesting.
Well,
clip. I'll want to zoom in on that one and see what.
Yeah, I can send it to you so you can zoom in on it. But that one's pretty cool because we've never caught anything like that. And if you watch other videos with IR lights and bugs, there's not a trajectory like that. It's goes up and it's not a perfect.
Right. I mean, they did go straight across, but yeah, I just, that's always my first habit when I'm not sure what it is. Zoom in on it.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay, and this next one, I kept them all grouped together. This one is also caught on the 3rd floor violent men's ward. And Teresa and Anthony Simonelli were actually with us. We got to do an investigation with them for a couple hours. And we were going down. Hey, Everett. Everett was there that night with Piedmont.
Yep.
But we were down by the dean's room. There's Aaron. Hi, Aaron. We were down by Dean's room, which is the bedpost murder room. And anybody that's ever been there, you get down to the end of the hallway. You get down to the end of the hallway, and the hallway split. And one side has standard rooms that cuts down to Dean's room, which is a standard room. But in between Dean's room at the end of that hallway, they had cells.
Yeah.
That literally like cells EVPE that had bar cells. Doors that would shut, and then another steel door that would shut with just a little opening where they could peek through. And we were down in that area where the cells are. And that was their solitary confinement where they put the really nasty ones. We were down there, and you'll hear Anthony ask, "Do you want out?" And we actually got a response.
Nice.
So here we go.
You want out? Can you imagine what the fuck?
Wow.
Sorry.
I'll tell you what was really cool about that is that you know the question Anthony asked was, "Do you want out?" And the answer was no. I mean, you would automatically think the answer is yes, but they say people who spend the majority of their life in prison don't want because it's all they know. So that's what put extra legitimacy to that EVP. Play that one more time.
Okay. And what's even cooler is after I went, "What the F?" And everybody's like, "What?" I'm like, "You guys didn't hear that?"
Yeah.
And you
so
can
you heard it with your own ears.
Yeah, I heard it with my own ears. Here we go.
You want out? Can you imagine what the fuck?
Wow.
Yeah. And that was a deep voice, so you could tell that wasn't Anthony or I, and of course it wasn't Teresa or Audra. So
no, I haven't mastered that voice yet.
That's cool.
And here's the best part: all the audio that I'm showing tonight was not enhanced at all. These are all Class A.
Yeah.
Nice.
I did not enhance these at all. These are just straight up. That's what we heard. So
didn't run it through any programs. Nope, it was nice.
Okay, so next we went to the first floor. There's a portion of the first floor. There's an 1800 section. So if you go down the hallway, you go back to another section, you go down another hallway, you go back into another section. That's the section that they originally built in 1858. And prior to them turning it into the hospital, it was during the Civil War, and they actually used it for troops. And one of the main generals in the area kept his troops there. And I placed my recorder right in the center hallway of the 3 sections so I could pick up anything between the 3 sections. And this one, Audra actually caught, or she mimicked. I don't think she actually realized at the time she heard it, but we actually thought we heard talking. And this one said, yeah, it just confirmed it. So here we go.
Nice.
Talking.
Yeah, I heard it too.
Okay, I'd like to say StreamYard sucks sometimes because it lowered that one because that one's a Class A2. But if you listen really close, if you have earphones on, turn your volume way up. I'll play it again. There's a female voice that says talking, and then you'll hear Audra say, "I hear talking." Let me play it again.
Talking.
Yeah, I heard it too.
I can hear it, but my speaker is really low so that my mic doesn't pick them up. So that one was a little hard for me to hear. But I heard a whisper voice right before Audra said, "Yeah, you're talking." So it's there.
It was loud as hell before I uploaded
it. It's always the case.
Always.
Now this next one, I'm going to try and describe this without using the words that get us kicked off of some of the streams.
Okay.
There is a room on the first floor they call Lily's room. And Lily was a little girl that spent her entire life in Tala because she was born there. And then right around the age of 11 or 12, she passed away. I think it was of tuberculosis. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. It wasn't anything horrific or anything like that. She passed away of some kind of illness that she caught while she was in there. But Lily's conception was not a voluntary one. Let's just put it that way. Her mother just happened to be one of the victims of the conditions in Tala, and Lily was born because of those conditions. That unfortunate event that took place with her mother. Lily was born out of that, and she literally lived her entire life at Tala, and this was her room. And a lot of people go in there. There's toys in there. There's balls in there. Just before we walked in, yeah, Aaron heard it. It's very low on here. But just before we walked in, Connie with Spirits of the Southeast was in there with like Jody and Lisa, and they had actually got one of the balls. Interaction. They actually have a video of her interacting, and you can see the ball being pushed back and forth. It was pretty cool. Nice. So we were with Anthony Simonelli and Teresa and Audra and I, and we went into Lily's room and started talking, and you'll hear in this Anthony actually gets down on the floor with her, tries to get her to play. And I don't know if anybody else has ever caught Lily's voice before, but you'll hear a little girl say no. And then I actually heard it. I don't know if I heard it with my own ears, but I react to it and tell Anthony that she doesn't want to. So here we go.
Oh, please. I want to play. You want to play with me? I'm upset. You feel like you're she doesn't. So she's hiding in the barn.
Heard that.
Yeah.
Did you? Yeah, that was
it's lighter than it is and what we thought. So let me play that really again so the audience can hear it. Listen really close. If you have earphones on, turn it up. It's actually a little girl's voice, and you can hear her tell him no. It's pretty cool. Where'd it go? Damn it. There it is.
Oh, please. I want to play. You want to play with me? I'm upset. You feel like you're she doesn't. So she's hiding in the barn.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's cool though. It'd be neat to know if anyone else has captured a voice where you could do a comparison, see if it's same voice.
Same voice. Yeah, that would be really cool. I'll have to reach out because I'm actually connected with Trans-Allegheny on the Facebook group. So yeah, there's Scott heard it. Yeah. But what's really cool is you see all the balls on the floor. Anthony was actually down on the floor trying to get her to play with the balls. And there was a couple times I said, yeah, I'm just getting the feeling she doesn't want to. And then,
and then she said it. So that was
confirmed. And then she said no. Yeah. So that's pretty
awesome.
Cool. Now this last one that we caught well, it's not the last one. I've got a ton of stuff from Tala. I've got bangs. I've got footsteps. I've got, if I put it all on here, we'd be on the show for 4 hours. But this last one, I want to show a picture. So the history of Trans-Allegheny is this is where they first started, one of the places they first started lobotomy. So the doctor that first started trying this in the western West Virginia area at Trans-Allegheny would lobotomize people. And if you look really closely, these are the tools from the 1800s that they would use for lobotomies. But you see the one.
Hold on. These are scary tools to begin with, but nobody finds it kind of strange that the ruler says,
I know,
modern funeral home.
Well, this is one that
doesn't work real well.
Yeah. So I pulled this off of Google. So this isn't actually Trans-Allegheny tools, but it was better than using the pictures that they had for Trans-Allegheny.
Oh, okay. I just thought it was strange that the tools are laying there and the ruler's just modern funeral home.
That was just one that I found on Google, and I think they did that back but if you look at that, you've got your mallet, right? Of course. Yep. And you've got your ice pick. Well,
your ice pick.
That ice pick, they would have two of them. And the history of Trans-Allegheny is the guy that would do it, he did about 100 a week. And I don't know how long he did it for, but he would do 100 lobotomies a week. And the theory is if you disconnect the frontal lobe of the brain, which is where the emotions are, then people could live a normal life. If they were psychotic, schizophrenic, if they had anger issues, if they had depression issues. His theory was if I scramble the front part of their brain, that'll disconnect their emotions. They can lead a normal life and they don't have these outbursts or anything like that. So they actually used two of those ice picks. And they would go in the corners of the eyes right here. And that mallet you see, deep enough until it hit that frontal lobe. Now, this is actually this EVP that you're going to hear is a sad one because it's I assume it's a residual. Of course, it's a residual, but this is the impact that this had at Trans-Allegheny because he did 100 a week, and the ages ranged from 4 to 80. So we're talking 4-year-old children that this was done on, and they never gave them any anesthetic, nothing for pain, and none of them were volunteers. These were all forced. So we placed a recorder in the lobotomy section.
Mm-hmm. Again, it's kind of during a walkthrough. Nobody was
during
there.
the walkthrough. We actually couldn't stay in the area because we actually got a smell of decay and got that negative gut feeling that you don't like. So we didn't stick around. But of course, Chris dropped a recorder there thinking this is a great place. So I'll play this a couple times. But if you're squeamish after what I've already described to you, this might get you a little bit more squeamish. This is probably the most impactful EVP I've ever caught. So here we go.
Wow.
So let me lay the foreground on that. We had just left this area. This was probably 20 minutes after we set that recorder down. There was nobody in that hallway.
In that section.
In that section at all. For approximately an hour and a half. Nobody had gone down in there. So I'm assuming that's a residual effect of what happened there when all these were going.
I assume you're correct. I mean, residual would be the only rational explanation for it because well, we're hoping they're not still occurring, but these people aren't anymore. So yeah, I would think it would have to be a residual capture. That makes perfect.
And I'll play it again really quick. But when I was reviewing the recording, at first I didn't hear the no, and then I played it back, and I'm like, did I just catch what I thought I caught? And then I heard the no in the beginning. It's the no is very faint, like it's behind a closed door, and this is happening. But literally, if you think about it, tap, tap, we're deep enough now. Let's start the process. And what kind of a scream would you get from somebody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's
one
play that.
just like that. Yeah.
Yeah, let's play it one more time.
Wow. That's
so
a great capture, but like you said, slightly unnerving.
Very, very unnerving to think. And then the bad part is, you know, of course they support the history of the location. As you go through these areas, they actually have pictures of actual procedures. And I didn't want to show that today because it actually disturbed one of the investigators that was with us when they saw the picture. It's intense.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you look at that picture and then hear this EVP, you're going, oh my God.
Yeah. Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
Because it's fitting. I mean, it fits the circumstances. You've got, you got somebody yelling, no, like, no, don't do this to me. Then you hear the taps of what sounds very much so like a metal hammer hitting a metal ice pick.
Right.
And then scream. So that's crazy stuff.
Yeah. And the way the scream draws out and kind of, can you imagine that procedure? I mean, the quickest part was probably the mallet. And then they,
couldn't imagine that procedure at all.
I know.
No, and what we learned while we were there is that about 60% of them didn't survive the procedure.
Right.
Some of the 40% that did, some of them didn't live very long or lived for a little while and then died from the procedure. And then we also found out while we were there from one of the tour guides that there was a gentleman that had the procedure done. And when they closed in 1994, some of the patients that were left, they put in other hospitals. Some of the patients that were left, they put in some assisted living housing right there in Weston. And some of them they just released to go about their way. And apparently there is a gentleman that's about 78 years old. Still alive today that had the procedure, and he had children and he had a life, and it actually worked for him. But 1 out of 1,000, it's not very good odds.
Yeah, it's sanity. I just want to know what kind of doctor goes, yeah, we'll just scramble up the brain, not with any mechanized precision, just put it there. I mean, how barbaric.
Well, and that talks to the history behind Trans-Allegheny, and it's probably one of the reasons why I can tell you, Audra and I, Audra won't admit it, but being sensitive going into a location like this, it feels like the energy in the building is like somebody opened up a box of roaches and just let it scatter everywhere. Some of it's residual, some of it's there but don't want to be there, and some of it's actually intelligent and will respond to you like Dean does and like Lily does. But the energy left in that place when you walk out, it's like walking through a mud puddle and not getting rinsed off. You literally feel like you have to take a bath for 3 days to clean that negative energy out of that building off of you.
That I understand that's a good example.
I'm going to hand it over to you, Tony, because yours are up next.
Yep, you're controlling.
All right. Well, the last week or so, I've been playing around with DRV as much as I possibly can. I would give anything for, a couple off to be able to really get enough time with it. But every time I use it, the answers, the responses, the statements seem to just keep coming. So the first one I'm going to play, and again, this is different from EVPE, and it's different from Spirit Box because it uses a radio frequency, but not a scanning. It's sitting on a particular non-barren frequency, meaning there's no radio transmission. And then it's white noise is uncovered down to voices. And then these voices literally respond to, if you ask, say this, say that, can you answer this? And the voices just keep coming. So the first one I'm going to play is called DRV Test. And I think this was myself, Cherie, and our son Dylan, if I remember correctly. But let's go ahead and play this. Here it comes.
All right, spirits, I know you're here. I know you're talking, and I appreciate that very, very much. Can you do me a favor? Can you say Anthony Rathman? Spirits, can you please do me a favor and say for me again, I heard you say it, can you say Anthony Rathman? Thanks, Tony. I heard Anthony, I didn't hear Rathman. Rathman. Did you hear it? Yes. Did you hear it? Dylan didn't hear it. Can you say hello, Dylan? Really loud and really clear. Can you say for me, please? I greatly appreciate it. Can you say hello, Dylan? What day is today, spirits? Do you know? Hello?
What day is it? Next week?
Maybe it is for them because we don't know.
It was a Sunday, so maybe they were considering that the beginning of next week. I don't know, but the most interesting about it is just how intelligent the answers are. I mean, I literally asked them to repeat something that I know isn't being broadcast. Not that takes any broadcast anyway. It's a barren station, but even if to alleviate that even further, I use my name, say Anthony Rathman. Yet, I mean, I probably heard Rathman in there more times than I even posted it up. Wow. And the responses are intelligent. They keep coming. It's not like when you're doing an EVP, you might get a couple of words. At best, this is conversation. It's just the strangest thing. But that was test. I think that was test 1.
So Tony, I got to ask you before you move on with the DRV. So listening to it, with the amount of intelligence coming through and the amount of answers that you're getting and the active responses you're getting, do you ever get that gut feeling that anything's ever negative?
Yeah. In fact, there was one the other day, this voice, and I think I have it on recording. I don't know. Maybe I got rid of it, but just the roughest sounding, and obviously there's no visual to it. You're only hearing what you're hearing, but it was so rough sounding. And so that, my mind was just spinning thinking, who is this? And what is this? And that was the one time that I actually shut it off without asking further questions, just because I was uneasy. I did not feel comfortable, and I shut it down.
Okay.
Well, and the reason I ask that is sometimes when Andra and I are listening to it, it's some of the stuff that comes through. You're like, whoo, that just sends chills up your spine. You not knowing where it's coming from, what realm, up or down, sideways, however it's coming at you, not knowing that's kind of
Well, and the other part of that, I completely agree, Chris. That's a great point. The other part of it that makes it just so unnerving is we don't know who we're talking to. Mm-hmm. Are we talking to spirits? Well, we know that we have. Do we know that's who we're talking to every time? No, we don't. Right. Could we be talking to extraterrestrials? Could we be talking to multidimensional creatures? Absolutely. We could be talking to things we can't even identify because we don't even know what it is. Right. But the bottom line is there a consciousness? Yes. Yeah. Is there a body in front of us? No. Yet they're responding. So that's what's so amazing about it.
Yeah. It is amazing. Well, and that's exactly why we all do what we do, whether it's old school recorders and video cameras like Audra and I just showed, or whether it's the DRV stuff, the ITC stuff that Tony and Ron and Lourdes and Cherie like to do. That's why we do it. And it's just, it's fascinating, but the not knowing sometimes it's a little chilling. It is.
It is. Yeah. It is. And when you can get, full sentences from them and figure out the amount of knowledge they actually have, it gets even more uneasy. But anyway, the next one was another test, and I think I was setting this up for Cherie and Dylan because this was over the weekend. Dylan was here, so I'm trying to get it tuned in. But basically, Cherie and Dylan were playing with it once I thought I had it tuned in. Well, actually, once they helped me get it tuned in, and here's that clip. I'll help you.
I know, I heard that. Are you saying you're gonna help Tony to tune this in? Yes. Thank you. All right. Well, I guess this is better now, right? Can you say yes or no? You got it.
Thank you, Cherie. I heard it. Can you hear that? You guys having a good day today?
Spirit, is this better now? Dylan again.
You obviously know my name. What's yours?
Can we get your name?
No.
It's just crazy. Like I said, it's not one voice. It's layers upon layers upon layers of voice. And you literally have to be able to sort through them and pick the ones that, you want to speak with. So that just brings me then to my last clip. And this one was really interesting because there was a gentleman back in the 80s named Marcello Bacci. And he literally was known for this method, and he was tested by scientists and couldn't find any, that he was forging anything or that he was doing anything mischievous. I mean, they did everything from pull his vacuum tubes out to everything in between. He was still getting voices. But it was so interesting is that when I got a hold of this method and learned it from Ron, this clip came through. And literally the person that is communicating with us says his name is Bacci. So here's that clip.
Wow.
Spirits, can you please try to communicate with us through this device? Who's watching?
Bachi,
That was clear. Do you want us to do the rumbling?
Bachi, are you keeping track of what we're doing?
Marcello, can you see us?
Yes.
Thank you. Marcello, you started this method. It's working. Can you please try to communicate with us?
Wow.
It's crazy.
It's insane.
Wow.
Yeah, that last line was so clear. It was like he was standing. Now, I don't know whether it was truly Marcello Bacci, but for him, it's not a common name that I'm at least heard outside of Marcello Bacci, and I'm sure his family and relatives. But for him to say that, and then Cherie to say, you know, this was your method, you know, can you use it to communicate? Do you have something to say? And then for the next voice to be a male voice. Now, granted, he was Italian, but he's speaking in English. But then to say, I'd say, glad to meet you. I mean, that's just, that was insane. Yeah, exactly. That was insane.
So I want to show you guys something that's insane. So the longer you're in the paranormal, the more you feel weird about talking about it. But the more connection it has. And so Tony's doing his DRV, you get the Bocce response, you get that Cherie Rath, the thank you, Cherie, was so flipping clear. That is crazy.
Yeah.
We just showed 5 to 6 clips of stuff that we caught at Trans-Allegheny. It's been 2.5 weeks since we were there investigating.
Something like that.
And the night that we're doing the show, I get an email during the show after we've showed all of our evidence. Thank you for choosing Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. If you look close at the time, it literally just came through at 9:31 p.m.
Wow.
So those of you that are connected with us and are into the paranormal, the longer that you're here, the more connection you see that the energies have. With the DRV that Tony just showed us, that's insane, the stuff that you're getting with that. But the connection and the energy that just transfers through. What are you going to say? Say it.
Well, I was going to actually kind of ask a question. You know how we would always say going into the hospital, and the more we would go, the more familiar they would be with us, the more interaction. Yeah. Do you feel the same with the DRV?
Yes, absolutely. And luckily, I think one of the reasons why it's working so well for me pretty much right off the bat was because of the last 12 years doing ITC, building spirit boxes, using them on a constant basis throughout the day and the week, over and over and over. So I think that has definitely helped bring the communication up faster, but I'm so excited to see where else it can go. But yeah, I mean, that definitely plays a huge part in it.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think it's relative to any portion of the paranormal, no matter what you do to it. The more you investigate, the more comfortable they are communicating with you.
Agreed.
The more you are in touch with communicating with them, no matter what method you use. I think it's the more you're in the paranormal, the more you get.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that makes perfect sense too, because the more you investigate, the more places you go to, the more time you spend doing it, your energy changes, and it changes, I think, to a level that they recognize and they are drawn to then. And, and it has to do with trust, and it has to do with your behavior as an investigator, how you treat them, you respect them. Yeah, just like it is with normal people. I mean, when you meet people for the first time, if you're acting like a complete jerk, they're not going to want to have anything to do with you. Well, it's the same thing with spirits. If you portray the right atmosphere and the right, the right kind of energy, the doors start to open. No doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It looks like we have some. I must be going through puberty again. We have a question from Aaron, since we're still talking before we start showing Ron stuff. Do you think it's easier for them to use ITC using devices they are more familiar with, so less energy used to connect gives them more energy to converse?
That's a really good question. I guess I'm going to have to say that I think they can communicate through devices longer. Now, the reason for that, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if the equipment takes less energy for them to send the signal to and let the machine spit it out, or if it's, because the machine's actually creating its own probably energy field around it, that they manipulate that. And it's less energy maybe than sending it to a recorder, which is only recording, and they have to have enough energy going through the signal going to it, not only to create the vocal sound on it, but to actually embed it into the recording. So I don't know, but I can tell you that I can get 8 to 10 minute conversations out of DRV. I could never get that out of an EVP or even a spirit box. So, or is it because there's more of them on the DRV interacting and they're taking turns? I don't know, but it's a great question, Aaron. Great question.
Well, yeah, and Aaron's leans more towards the metaphysical side. She's an extreme sensitive clairvoyant, and my opinion from the metaphysical side is they communicate with the device that is capturing the communication the quickest. Yep. Is what I get from it. So walking into a location as a sensitive, you feel things, you hear things, you communicate what you're feeling, you communicate what you're seeing, you communicate what you're hearing, but you don't always capture that on the digital recorder. You don't always capture that on the video recorder to validate what you're seeing, hearing, and feeling. I think with Tony and Ron's and Lourdes and Cherie's DRV sessions, it's real time. It's I can communicate now. I can communicate with the sensitive, but somebody that's not sensitive going into an investigation, they got to wait to communicate with me. I think from what I'm hearing with the DRV and the feeling that I'm getting with what Tony and Ron does is the window's open. They have an opportunity to speak, and it sounds like there's a bunch of them trying to get through at one time.
That's for sure. Well, and the other cool thing about it is that, you mentioned when you first started explaining that, spirits try to match the energy of the device to get the message through. Well, I think that might be part of the problem with Spirit Box, because it scans radio. So it's literally scanning forward or backwards or, at whatever rate or level. But think about trying to match that.
Right.
That to me would be a challenge. Now, the cool thing about the DRV is that it's using white noise, broadcast resistant white noise. White noise is known to be the collection of all audio frequencies basically in one at a standard level. So they're all the same strength. Well, that to me would be easier to hit than a scanning spirit box that's jumping all over the place. Mm-hmm. Then it's a matter of using the filters to filter through those layers till you get the voices you want to interact with.
Yeah, and a good way to look at it in comparison would be try and catch a taxi standing on the side of a freeway compared to trying to catch a taxi standing on the side of a building on the streets of New York where traffic's slower.
Right.
It's the same concept. It's trying to catch up with the sweep so we can communicate, or this DRV where we're not competing with the sweep, where we can communicate. What's really intriguing to me is the DRV stuff that you get you get multiple times people are saying, Tony, if you listen real close, or Cherie or Dylan, if you listen real close, it's different voices.
Right.
It's like,
yeah, they're not
it's
the
like
same.
different people trying to get your attention so they can communicate. It's like that scene from Ghost where all of a sudden Whoopi Goldberg is wide open and there's a line of people standing outside trying to talk.
Yeah. There's some truth there.
Yeah.
So who's playing Ron's, yours or Tony?
Either one of us can. We both have control.
Oh, go ahead, Chris.
Okay, so here we go with this next clip.
Well,
Ron sent in. Well, what?
I was just gonna watch.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
For everybody that's paying really close attention and wants to stay with us on YouTube and Facebook Live, we're going to continue until we go through Ron's evidence, talk a little bit more, and then we'll, give our catchphrase and sign off. You can stick with us, but at approximately 9:57, so in about 5 minutes, UNX is going to go switch over to their next show. But if you want to stick with us and finish out what Ron sent in, even though they're not here, we're definitely going to show us stuff because Ron always has some good stuff to show us.
Yep.
Stick around YouTube and Facebook. And you can catch those on Entity Voices Paranormal Live Stream. It's playing right now on Southern Entities. It's playing on Entity Voices YouTube channel live right now too. So this first one that Ron sent in, it says New Jersey Paranormal Herb, are you there clip. So this looks like it's when Ron and Lourdes from the pictures when they did the private home investigation with New Jersey Paranormals.
Oh, cool.
So let's go ahead and play that one.
Herb, it's Renee. Are you there?
What?
Wow, that was awesome.
Yeah, that's a holy shit moment right there.
Do my babies look like a ghost?
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that was the one where Ron was telling us that he actually helped the people that own the house in that private investigation make contact with people that had passed on and get responses, which made them actually to the point where they were in tears and they actually sent them a thank you.
Wow.
Right.
Oh, that's
So it sounds like
cool.
Herb was someone that they knew.
Huh.
And Herb was asking about his babies. And what's really intriguing about that clip is, do my babies look like ghosts? It's almost like, I know what I look like to you. Am I seeing the same thing that you're seeing type question? That was pretty cool. Yeah.
Huh.
Okay, this next clip that Ron sent in, it looks like it's from the same investigation, and it says latency, that's funny. So let's go ahead and listen to that one.
Yeah, we believe there's some kind of latency or delay in this because it's not Verizon, even they have it.
That was good. He always catches good stuff. Always.
Yeah.
And I'm glad they took the time off for themselves, but I almost wish they were here to explain the laughing before it. If that was somebody in the room or if that was something they also picked up on the DRV.
Yeah, I can't answer that. I don't know, but I did hear it.
Because if he caught the laughing on the DRV and them saying that's funny, that's huge. And
I thought they were laughing.
And even if it was just them laughing, the two realms connecting was
and that's what
awesome.
That's what he was saying, is that they're sharing basically that laugh between the realms, which is so crazy.
So if anybody watching doesn't believe that the realms are somehow connected,
think again.
That one kind of smacked you in the face a little bit. Okay, the next one he sent in, White Hill Nobody Cares Mary. So I'm assuming this is White Hill Mansion.
Yep.
And nobody cares, and this must be Mary. So let's go ahead and listen to it. Maybe that'll explain what the title is.
All right.
Mary, is that you?
Yes. Who heard that? Holy shit.
Sweetheart, do you want me to tell your story?
That was great again.
It was great.
It was wicked.
And I almost wish Ron would have sent the photo, because for those of you who were paying really close attention to that picture, Sam Baltrusis was sitting there doing the seance with
Lourdes.
I think it was Lourdes and Richard, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a picture that Sam posted from that seance where Lourdes's face actually morphs. It almost looks like anybody that's friends with Lourdes or Sam on their Facebook, go ahead and see if you can find that picture. But there's a picture where you can almost see an older lady's face morphing with Lourdes's face that was taken at the same time that this was captured during that seance.
You could see it in her face.
Yes.
You could see that her nose not only had changed shape, but changed angle. And her hand, her hand literally looks like there's an 80-year-old woman's hand
yes.
over the top of it.
Yeah, and that clip will just literally sound like the Nobody Cares was literally an older lady's voice.
Yes.
Right? Exactly.
What's even more specific is they're in New York. That's an older New York lady speaking. You can hear the vocal tone, you can hear the accent in that recording.
Wow.
And then if you were to listen to that recording with that picture that we saw side by side with Lourdes's face morphing, and what's even more intriguing about it is if you look at Lourdes's neck in that picture, she almost takes on, you know how older ladies, no offense, older ladies,
that would be me.
The way their skin, the way their skin starts to droop a little bit on their neck when we get older. Mine's starting to do it, my age. But you can almost actually see that portion in the picture too. That's intense.
Yeah, it's really freaky looking.
I'm glad that Ron put that one in, because after looking at that picture with this, that gives me chicken skin race. All right, so this next one is New Jersey Paranormal talking to Rich. I don't know what the resi is, but we'll see. Let's go ahead and play the clip.
If you recognize Richard from being here before, could you say his name, please?
Yeah, like Polish.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was the residential with Richard. So that's what the resi means, is the residential.
Yeah, residential.
Yeah. That's intriguing. You can almost hear this. So this was another example where Ron sounds drunk, which is
So he slowed it down.
so he slowed it down. That is just hilarious. We love those.
I just laugh every time. It cracks me up.
But
I was thinking the same thing. But yeah, when he and I'm like, yeah, it sounds like he just finished bottle of
But
brandy or something.
Yeah.
A whole bottle and a half. This is something that Ron's pointed out quite a few times, is sometimes the responses come in so fast you don't pick them up. So when he slows them down, the responses come in real time, where Ron sounds drunk because it's so slow, but the responses are real time.
Correct. Right.
Yeah.
They come in so fast that it's faster than any human could speak. And it's faster even than the brain can interpret what was said. It's that fast. So what Ron was trying to accomplish was to slow it down in real time so that the real-time conversation could keep occurring, but that the audio on the responses could be slowed down enough so that the brain could catch what was being said. And like you said, when he slows it down, Ron's voice sounds like he's been drinking, but the spirit voice has been cut in half, and it sounds like it's speaking regular speech. So it does work, and he's had some real great success with it.
Yeah, there sounded like there was at least 2 different, I mean, I know there was at least 3 different vocals in there, but there was 2 that were foreign.
Yeah, they had accents.
The one that says that I was talking to him.
Yeah,
right.
It had like
we've heard that.
Polish.
We've heard that before, where you get a dialect or what sounds like clearly not someone speaking that would be from down the street.
Yeah.
And Scott, to answer your question, yes, it can be slowed down in real time.
Yes. And for those of you watching too that use digital recorders, if you have the right software when you were doing your review and you catch something, so here's a teachable moment. When you're catching your review, if you hear something that sounds out of the ordinary, stop what you're doing, clip that section out of the recording, save it. When you go back to it, try slowing it down. There has been times where we've done, I know Tony's done this quite a bit, where you hear something that sounds like out of the ordinary, and it sounds just maybe like a cough or a sneeze or, a footstep, but then you slow it down and spread it out, and it's actually words, and it turns into an EVP that is actually a Class A EVP, but it's coming through so fast. Mm-hmm. If you wouldn't have taken the time to slow it down, you've heard me say it quite a few times, even with our video, I'll take the video, convert it to audio. So my reviews take so long because I listen to it the first time, I clip out the Class A's. And then I'll go back and review it a second time. And the stuff that I hear that sounds out of the ordinary, I'll clip those out. I'll enhance them. I'll slow them down. And you can find some phenomenal communication that you didn't really know was there until you take the time. So that's why I say the review is the suck portion of the investigation, because the investigation's fun. You collect your evidence. But when you have 30 hours of recordings and audio and video, that's why it takes 90 hours to review it, because you do your initial review, you do your second review, and then you get those clips. The hidden clips is what I call them, that you go back and you actually have to use that software to enhance it and slow it down to catch actually what you saw and what you heard. So yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Well, cool.
It was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was some great stuff. And we literally hit the boards of almost everything from EVPs to DRV to the natural sounds of a lobotomy to
residuals to active intelligent responses to Man, we've been through an orb in there, and I'm going to tell y'all, it's rare you see an orb on this show.
That's right.
So
from us, anyhow.
Yeah, from us, anyhow. Well, one of the main reasons that we do this, guys, is not. We want you guys to know we're not showing off what we can show you and what we capture. The reason we do this is to show you. One of the main reasons we do this show and have other investigators on is because we're just as deep into the paranormal investigating as you guys are. God, you'd almost call us crazy, because some of you watching, we are so deep into it that you almost think we're nuts,
Lots of people do.
Lots of people do.
I was gonna say, well.
We all have our normal lives too. We go out and work normal jobs and come home at the end of the day. And our hobby is not collecting stamps or, weaving rugs or going out and watching birds. Our hobby is chasing ghosts and trying to catch the evidence and prove that there's other things out there, but besides the meat skin people that we run into on a daily basis. I mean,
yeah.
And we don't just believe in spirits. We also believe in extraterrestrials. I mean, for everybody watching, we tend to chase spirits and haunted stuff. We don't tend to chase extraterrestrials. And one of the main reasons Audra and I don't do it is because we know it's there. We believe it's there. We have no doubt it's there. Somebody doesn't have to tell us it's there. and for somebody to say, do you think there's intelligent life out there? Well, yeah, because for us to believe those of us on Earth are the most intelligent one in the universe is just pure arrogance. And sometimes we don't act all that intelligent anyway. So,
yeah.
So true. So true.
Tony, do you have any shameless plugs?
Let's see. I have a whole list of them, but we'll save them.
We'll save those shameless plugs. I'll give you a couple of shameless plugs. Next weekend, we got family coming in town. No, I'm just kidding.
Let's see, week by week. So tomorrow we're going
Saturday the 18th, we will have Spirits of the Southeast at the Montgomery House. First paranormal investigation at the Montgomery House of the season.
Yep.
We would like to have more, but it's a hard location, and not having restrooms and not being near hotels, it's hard to get people into that location, but it's for a good cause anyway. So, yeah. And then July 30th, or 29th, we will be at the USS North Carolina battleship.
Yep.
Nice.
So you'll be seeing more from that. And on the next show, I'm sure you'll see more from our Trans-Allegheny, because I still have more to go through and 2 more reviews to do of everything. So,
once you start doing all the reviews, that's when you limit your number of recorders and cameras, because you realize the more of them you put out, you double your review time by every camera. And right.
And let me give you here's another teachable moment. If you walk into a haunted location and they have a fan blowing on that level because it's a little warm, don't leave your audio recorder on that level.
Hint, hint.
Hint, hint. My 4th floor digital recorder, I can only do about a 10 to 15 minute review on it because it just blows my eardrums because of the fan that they had placed up there for your comfort.
Yeah. We still learn too. It's just like, oh crap.
Yeah. Want to thank everybody that stopped by. Everett, Scott, Amy, Aaron. Aaron, we saw this weekend.
Finally got to physically
see we got to physically see him. There was a Paracon / Comic-Con here in Charlotte, and Andrea Perron, if I'm pronouncing it right, and her father Roger were here, and Aaron Bush was there with us, and we all got to have lunch with her. Carrie came down. Spirits of the Southeast came down. Mm-hmm. We got to, no, it wasn't lunch, it was dinner. Good to have dinner with them. Yeah. That was fantastic. Amy Edwards is always with us watching. Let me see, who else do we have? Lourdes is always watching. Usually she's watching from the chair, but Lourdes stopped by to say hi on vacation. And Facebook user always stops in. Anthony Simonelli. How could I forget Anthony?
How you doing?
How you doing? We actually got to do an investigation with Anthony Giuseppe and Teresa Atala, and that was fantastic.
Yeah,
that was
they're good people too.
Yeah. So I wanted to thank everybody for stopping by. I know it wasn't as fun without everybody here. We missed Cherie.
Yeah. Hope she had a good night off.
Happy birthday, Jonica.
That's right. Happy birthday.
Happy 23rd birthday. Make sure you Lourdes said we love you.
Love you.
There we go. Make sure you guys, 23 or not, never too old for a birthday spanking. So wish her a happy birthday. Give her a hug for us, Tony.
We will do that.
We missed you guys. We hope you enjoyed your time off and got to absorb some you time, because it's always needed. Now it's Tony and Cherie's turn for that.
Yeah, we're working on it. Just have to let work slow down. It's just going crazy right now. But sooner or later, I'll just be like, I'm taking it anyway.
Shameless plug from Everett. Today was a good day.
Good to hear. Good to hear.
Aaron is a fantastic person. But thank you guys for stopping by. We will be here next week. Same time, same channels, same platforms. We will be here showing some more paranormal evidence because that's what we do. And to finish off what I was saying, the reason we have shows like this showing our own stuff is to show you guys that we are in the nitty gritty with the rest of you. And the only way that we can have these shows, just like we have guests on, to show evidence that's captured, proving that we can talk and feel and see the other side, is by staying haunted. All right, guys, have a good week. We will see you next week. All right.
Good week.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
Can you give me a name? What's your name?